So hello and welcome back to another episode of Bullows Paint Shop Tales. In today's weekly seminar, we are going to cover an interesting topic, which is considering the Bullows pressure fit tank. And in previous episodes, we have talked about various applications of this pressure fit tank. But in this episode, we are going to cover a most important part, and that is related to the servicing and maintenance of these tanks. So let's start it. But before we start, just to get a quick overview of what is a PFT. So a PFT, meaning a pressure fit tank, is a sealed container used in industrial applications to store and supply different kinds of fluids, be it paint, adhesive, or chemical. And everything in the tank is controlled and dispensed pneumatically, that is using compressed air. So there are no electrical components in a pressure fit tank. These tanks, mostly used in various industrial applications, are the advantage is that they are such simple design that they last pretty much many decades if they are taken good care of using regular servicing. Neglecting preventive servicing will not just reduce the lifespan of the tank, but will also create a safety hazard for the operators working in the paint shop. A pressure fit tank is said to be only as reliable as the maintenance schedule followed for it. And in this comprehensive guide, we are going to walk you through every aspect of this tank, including the servicing and how you're supposed to keep the Bullows tank running at peak efficiency for many decades to come. So everyone knows what are the components of a pressure fit tank, but we'll, for all the audience in the seminar, we'll just go through it serially to mention the few important components. The first and the most important is actually the tank body, which is made in Bullows case of MS as well as SS. They are available in various capacities from 5 liter, 9 liter, 22, 45, 60, 90, and even above in custom high configurations. The next two parts are the air regulator and the pressure gauges. Both of these components are one of the most important parts of a pressure fit tank. They are used to control and maintain the system pressure inside the tank. The Bullows recommended operating pressure is around 2 to 6 bar. The range is 2 to 6 bar, but the operating is standard around 3 bars. The pressure gauges are calibrated in-house with certification, which provides real-time monitoring of the pressure. Just like a pressure cooker, which we used in our cooking every day for our food, there is also safety release valve built in into every Bullows tank. This automatic pressure release valve works exactly like the one we see in a pressurized cooker used in our kitchens. They are factory set at a rated pressure, which is 10 to 20% above the normal operating range, that is more than 6 bar. So whenever for some unknown cases due to some negligence or carelessness of the operator, if the pressure inside the tank builds up and crosses a certain threshold which is set up at the factory, then the pressure release valve gets opened and all the extra pressure built up in the tank is released, thus preventing a major catastrophe of the tank and damage to the tank as well as the people around it. The next two part are the input and output valves which we have, as well as the suction tube which is held inside the tank. So in the next slide, I will show you the image internal image of the tank wherein the suction hose is applied. So whenever air pressure is applied to the tank, the pressure forces the liquid in the tank to move in a certain direction. And the suction hose act as the only outlet for the fluid through which the fluid is forced up at the output, and then it is dispensed out to the spray gun or other equipment. Another some of the critical components are the stirrer system. So when I mean by stirrer system, there are two categories. One is a manual stirrer and one is automatic stirrer. The manual stirrer, which you can see in the image in front of you, is the default configuration of the tank. It has a manual crank at the top, which the operator can use to manually stir the contents inside the tank. In many cases where continuous agitation is not required, many of the customers prefer using a manual stirring system. So these are the fan blades at the bottom of the tank, which are used for stirring. And as you can see on the left-hand side is the suction tube through which the paint is pushed out of the tank. And on top, we have the ball valves attached. And this here is the manual crank for stirring. You also have here the air regulator and the pressure gauge. And on the back side, there is the safety release valve. And for automatic agitation, we have multiple models of pneumatic motors available in our product catalog. One of them is the L20 motor, which has a unique configuration of 180-degree reciprocating motion. And the another type of motor is a rotary geared motor, which comes in various horsepower configuration. And that motor provides 360-degree continuous stirring. So based on the different type of paint or adhesive or chemical you are using, you can opt for either the L20 or the rotary geared air motor. Now, last but not least, there are also various internal seals, O-rings, and different gaskets, which are also made of different material and are installed into the tank. The main point of using these gaskets are to prevent leakage in this pressure fit tank. O-rings prevent leakage at connection points, and gasket seal, which in the center image you can see, is inserted into the lid and provides a tight seal when the lid is closed up using clamps so that there is no air leakage outside. Now, as we are talking about lid gaskets, most of you might have known that there are multiple materials available for this gasket. These are based on different application and depends on actually what kind of chemical, glue, adhesive or paint you are using for your application. So the pressure fit tank gaskets are selected based on chemical compatibility, the temperature range, as well as pressure and different aspects. Various materials are available which are used throughout the industry, some for normal cases, some for specialized cases. In our case, the Bullows tanks, the material which we are using for gasket is made of EPDM, as you can see in the bottom one, PTFE coated EPDM material. The temperature range for this material gasket is around -50 degrees to 150 degree. And the key strength are that it is a sort of a universal gasket, which is compatible with most chemicals. It provides resistance to many of the chemicals and is a really good sealing material. Compatibility is, like I said, most of the chemicals are compatible, normal scale. And a typical application is where you use multi-use tank, there are harsh environments, or you're using different types of paint. So basically, if you're using paint, which is not a specialized paint, then APDM seal gaskets work perfectly fine. That's why it is the default option. Now, there are also other gaskets available in the market, like materials is one of them is nitrile, which is the key strength used actually wherein you're storing oil or fuel material. And the chemical compatibility is like mild acid or petroleum based products, mostly used in the auto industry or in the oil and gas natural sector industry. EPDM again is weather and UV resistance, is good with detergents, ketones, water, or even for steam. But mostly wherein water-based solution chemicals are used, EPDM are used. There is also white on. The temperature ranges around -20 to 200 degrees. It is also good chemical and heat resistance. It is also used in oil fuels, acids, and solvents. And typical application is for high performance coatings or wherein the solvents are chlorinated or when you are using a chemical wherein you require a high temperature solution. So in that case, white on is used. Many of them specialized application use white on. Our standard tanks come with the EPDM, but for various customized application, we provide different material gaskets as well. For more details, you can reach out to us and we'll be happy to help you for it. Now let's start with the main topic, which is the servicing and maintenance. Now there are actually two kinds of servicing which we will mention in today's seminar. The first one is the daily maintenance, and the second is the long term, which is conducted every month. Now, what the Bullows recommended servicing is to be followed in this way, but it's not strictly a written rule. And based on your actual tank usage and production, there can be slight changes in that. So whenever we are talking about daily changes, it means this servicing is to be done every day at the end of the shift when the production has stopped, so that the tank is ready for the next operation in the next shift. And this check doesn't take much time, hardly 15 to 20 minutes or even half an hour. And so we'll now just see what all aspects are covered in this checklist. So number one, which is the primary and the most easy, which often many of the operators overlook, is the visual inspection. Now, pressure fit tank, as you know, is made of NS and SS. It is a high strength component, but still, during production processes, there can be various instances where the tank gets damaged. So there can be minor bumps, there can be minor dents or some other flaws which can happen in the tank during everyday day-to-day usage. Now, what this does is this can actually cause pressure differences in the tank as well as improper sealing, and there can be air leakages as well. So, a normal visual inspection to see that the tank is in good condition is the most easy, the most important, but also the most overlooked part in the daily servicing. The second is the pressure system check. In this, the operator has to read the pressure gauges while tank is pressurized. So you can offer the normal standard pressure for the tank and check the air regulator if it is working all right. The knob is in correct working position. The pressure is increasing, decreasing using the knob. And if there are any hissing sounds in the tank when you increase the pressure within its standard pressure range of 6 bar. You can also check the pressure gauge to see that the gauge is working fine, the needle is changing similarly to the input given in the tank. The third is the material drainage. It is actually very important that whenever the tank usage has been completed, that there is no material left in the tank overnight or for long durations, or that the tank has been pressurized for a long time with the material intact. So it is recommended that whenever the shift has been completed, the tank has to be depressurized, completely emptied of all the material solution in the tank, cleaned, and then stored it in a dry condition. The next are the proper flushing of the suction hose, as well as other hoses and tubes in the tank, input and output. For that, you can run the solvent, standard or specialized solvent used in your paint shop. To run in this tank and all the hoses, you can use acetone for lacquers and water for normal acrylic or standard solvent. And the operator has to inspect for material buildup, that there is no material buildup in the hoses as it can choke up. Then there is also the ball valves, which are mounted at the top of the lid of the tank. The operator has to open and close them 2 or 3 times to ensure that they are working fine, and also there are also no leakages or hissing sound when you're doing those. And also have to check for if there is any fluid dripping from outside the valves. Next is the stirring operation. So if you have a manual stirrer or if you have mounted a pneumatic motor, then the manual stirrer should be rotated thoroughly, both clockwise and anti-clockwise, to see that it is smooth and there is no buildup, because sometimes the material gets built up and it gets dried. So it creates a friction and the rod and the handle can get stuck up. So it gets very difficult for the operator to stir it. And it also gets difficult and for the air motor as well, as it creates additional pressure on the pneumatic motor component to stir it. So the operator has to check that it is working fine, there is no buildup. For motor, the pneumatic motor, the operator can power it on using compressed air connection and see that there is smooth operation. There is no, like I said, the grinding sound. If there is the grinding sound, that it means there is some material buildup or there is some issue in the motor and should be checked. Next is to verify that all the connections in the tank, be it seals, gaskets, the lid clamps, or other gauges, everything is nuts and bolts are tight and there are no leakages. One has to also look for moisture or corrosion at at this connection points, since these are the most vulnerable for corrosion if you're using a MS tank in a high humidity environment. The operator has to also check the O-rings as well as the gaskets which are used. Primarily, if they are not replaced after a certain set time, the material of the gasket, due to being in constant contact with the paint or fluid, can get can have its flexibility reduced. They can also have hardened. They can also be brittle, lose its flexibility, or they may start to lose its color. So if you see any of one of these signs, then the seals and gaskets needs to be replaced immediately. Next, there is the proper cleaning of the external tank panels, as well as the lid and all the other accessories, so that there are no paint drips, there is no dust, or there is no moisture accumulation. on the tank. And like our previous episode, if you have a specialized customized Bullows tank which has heating jacket assembly, then you have to also take special care in cleaning the outside layer of that as well. Next is the safety system verification. The operator has to ensure that the safety valve is accessible, is working fine. There is no dust or debris near in the safety release valve, which may cause its blockage. He has to also measure that the pressure gauge reading are clear, confirm, and according to the input pressure given. And the last is that the operator, after doing all these other things mentioned, the checklist has to create a proper document, or might I say a maintenance log, to record all these inputs and store it in a separate maintenance file, so that there is a proper record of the tank has been daily serviced and there are no issues in the tank. We can also put a safe state sticker in the tank so that the next shift operator knows that the tank is ready to use without any issue. Now we'll talk about the monthly professional service. Now the monthly professional service includes all the aspects which we have covered in the daily or weekly service, but it has some other additional things which take some time and are not recommended or not really that needed in day-to-day operations, but once a month or twice a month is a good time to check this. It involves inspection, component cleaning, and it is a slightly more comprehensive checklist than the daily uh, things we have covered above. So the first thing again is the tank inspection, but this time we are going to check the internal parts of the tank. For that, the tank is completely depressurized primarily, then it is drained of all the material inside. Then the tank lid is removed, and using a proper flashlight and a mirror if needed, especially for small tanks like 5 liter. The operator has to check the interior walls for scale, dried material, rust, or there are some other issues as well. Bottom corners are also checked for if there are settled particles or dried debris settled at the bottom. The internal connections are also checked, like the suction hose and stirrer are working fine or not. He also has to check the weld points to see that they are in good condition or if there has been some corrosion in that. If he finds any of these points in that, then the tank has to be immediately replaced. Corrosion is the biggest enemy for a pressure fit tank, and corrosion spots indicate that the seal has been failed in some point, and it has leads to corrosion and moisture entry into the tank. Then all the fasteners are checked with appropriate wrenches, the tank closure bolts, the clamps which are used for closing the tank, air regulator mounting bolts, pressure gauge mounting, ball valve mounting nuts, all are to be checked thoroughly for signs of leakages, hissing sounds, corrosion, and moisture. Loose parts, especially which are mounted, if the parts which are mounted at the top of the tank are loose, it may lead to pressure leaks. It can cause to vibration, especially if the tank is used at high pressure. It can cause to seal failures and potentially catastrophic system failure, which can lead to damage of the tank as well as the people around it. Can be hazardous to the people. Next is the pressure gauge calibration. All the gauges are factory tested and calibrated when they are dispatched from the factory, but the accuracy needs to be verified and should be in the range of normal working range. But even if there is a deviation of 0.5 bar from reference gauge, then the gauge is to be immediately replaced, as these are the things which can cause to increase pressure in the tank, and incorrect readings can be hazardous to the tank as well as to the operator. Now the seal replacement process is extremely easy. Once you depressurize the tank, all the seals and gaskets are removed. New seals and gaskets are available directly from Bullows or authorized dealer network. You can buy a direct repair kit or replacement kit for these gaskets, and the operator can change this within 15 minutes. Then the tank is again pressurized and it is checked for any leakages. So what all gaskets gets replaced? So all the primary O-rings are replaced in the assembly. Then the main one gasket, which is the lid gasket, attached at the bottom of the lid, is also replaced. All the visible seals are replaced, and valve seating gaskets. That is the gaskets which are mounted in between the top parts of the tank, that is the air regulator as well as the pressure gauge, etc. Now the normal lifespan for different materials of sale approximate is given here. For nitrile it is around 18 to 24 months. EPDM is 24-36. Viton is the biggest lifespan of around 48 months. But like I said, these are the standard manufacturer given replacement lifespans of the gaskets, but one should not just go blindfolded and trust this and replace the seal only after the specific time period has been gone, like say 48 months. Regular checkups are necessary, and sometimes due to various specialized chemicals or paint being used, the seals and gasket can deteriorate quite early than the predefined lifespan. Since these are calculated based on optimal working conditions in a lab, and real world usage is quite different than lab testing. So regular inspection is always preferred to check that the lifespan of the seals is okay or it needs to be replaced. The seal replacement is critical for maintaining the integrity of the tank and preventing dangerous leaks and hazardous explosions. Every monthly service, the operator must document the tank model, its serial number, date of service, and all the other components which he inspected, with remarks for its condition noted, remarks for the components which he cleaned or replaced, along with the technical superior signature and license number, as well as the recommended next schedule for the next service of the tank, if no issues have been found. A proper manual entry and a logbook is preferred and recommended by Bullows for the service maintenance of the tank. Now, what is the optimal time for the replacement of the tank or its parts? So we have some strict criteria for those. One is that there is the operator finds structural corrosion which is visible in the interior or exterior part of the tank. So whenever these kinds of rust appears, it's a classic sign that the tank needs to be immediately replaced. Next is when there is a hydrostatic pressure test failed repeatedly. So what this does is, it means that whenever the tank is pressurized using fluid or water inside the tank, there will be, if there is hissing sound or leakages tested on the tank multiple times, even after changing the seals and gaskets, then this is also assigned to replace the tank. The third point is, if the total annual repair cost exceeds 40% of the replacement cost. In that case also, it is preferred to upgrade to a new tank, since it's not cost beneficial to spend more in the spares when you can get a new tank with a improved warranty and new build quality. If now, like I said, if the regular servicing of the tank is done, the tank can last even decades. But our standard recommended policy is that if the equipment tank is around more than 10 years old or 12 years old, it is in dire need of new repairs. So it is recommended to just replace the tank. And the last point is, again, as the tanks are in continuous development, newer designs are implemented into the tank on every 6 months basis from our factory. So it is also recommended that if you have an old tank, then it is easy and preferred to switch to a new design tank, which has better safety features, better construction, and performance improvements. But like I said, the decision to replace than to repair is both a safety as well as an economic consideration for the company who is purchasing the tank. When the repair cost approaches replacement cost, or when the safety cannot be guaranteed, then the replacement is the most responsible choice for the company. Now, if you're having some basic issues with the tank, then we also have a small and handy troubleshooting table here with us, with the normal everyday problems listed, the root cause of the problem, its solution, as well as what you can do to prevent it. So if you want, you can have a read at it. Like for example, we'll just go through one or two of the basic things we go. Like there is the operator is facing low or inconsistent pressure. When you have this problem, the most probable root cause is that there is some air leakage, or there is a air regulator malfunction, or the seal has been worn out due to wear and tear. The solution is again to check the connections, replace the gaskets, and replace the seals. If there is an issue with the regulator, then the regulator must also be replaced. Prevention again is standard regular checks, quarterly seal inspections. Then again is that safety valve releasing unexpectedly. So if this happens, the cause for this is that the tank was over pressurized, or that is beyond the safety hazard limit set by the factory, or the valve was actually faulty using a faulty spring, or there has been some manufacturing defect. Now, having a manufacturing defect at a tank is extremely rare, as all the tanks are tested here from the factory, and without testing, not a single tank leaves. But in some rare cases, there might be some issue wherein you may face this problem. The solution again for that is to reduce the system pressure, recalibrate the valve, and if you are facing the same issue, then the tank needs to be replaced, or if it is in the warranty period, you can send it back to Bullows and we will repair and replace it. Again, the prevention is monthly inspection or quarterly testing. So these are some of the things for troubleshooting everyday use cases of the tank. Now let's talk about prevention versus chaos and why it is an important choice. For reliable operations, The tanks servicing of a pressure fit tank is not an afterthought. It's not something that you may think that, okay, it's a standard tank, there is not much need for servicing. It's a basic, easy design machine, so we will do it next time. The tank servicing is actually the foundation for a reliable, efficient operation of the tank. The systematic approach, which we have shown you in this guide today, is used for transforming the service from a reactive end of the time, or at the end phase of the time, crisis driven activity into what will be a predictable, manageable servicing program with all the logs mentioned systematically in a file, which will maximize the equipment value as well as the operation performance. Since you will be having a thorough lookout at all the maintenance log, and you be sure that your Bullows pressure fit tank is working as it is intended. The choice between a preventive and a reactive maintenance is a simple choice between control, that is knowing exactly what will happen, and chaos, that is being surprised by failures. The data supports that whenever you choose prevention, the using regular servicing, then the total cost will be lower, the equipment life will be longer, the quality of the product will also be thoroughly maintained, since when it is new, as well as you can guarantee that the tank will work in safer conditions and in safer operations will be without any issue. Now, like I said, the tank, if it is taken good care of, can easily last around 10 to 15 years, reliable service, no issue, as long as there are no rusting or moisture deposition, and all the spares are being regularly replaced, like gaskets and other gauges, as well as the calibration of the gauges are also being done on a timely basis. The only question remain now is, will you give it the maintenance that the Bullows tank deserves? So that's it for today's seminar of Bullows Paint Shop Tales, wherein we covered the service and maintenance recommendation for Bullows pressure fit tanks. For professional tank servicing and maintenance support, which can be done at the customer's paint shop itself by their operator. But if you want, we also provide technical support or engineer support to at the factory location at your choice, or you can also prefer to send your tanks straight to Bullows, wherein we will perform the necessary servicing of the tank as well, and again send you back with all the repairs done. It includes comprehensive maintenance programs, recertification of the tank as well as gauges, and we also keep a thorough spare parts in inventory, so that the equipment is running efficiently and there are no spares issue whenever you are in need. So if you want to get in contact with us, you can reach out to us at bullows.com, or our mail ID sales@bullows.com, or the below given mobile numbers, and we'll be happy to help you for any spray painting equipment requirement or servicing or any other project requirement, including spray painting booths and turnkey projects. So that's it for today's video. We'll see you again in the next weekly episode covering another interesting topic of our Bullows equipment. And till then, if you want to check out all our other products, be sure to visit our website or check out our YouTube channel. The details are in the video description. Thank you.